Imagine you are a policeman and you have caught a terrorist. The terrorist has confessed that he planted a bomb somewhere in your city, but he won't tell you where the bomb is. As a cop, you try various methods to find out where the bomb is. First, you try to ask in a polite way, but the terrorist doesn't understand. Then you interrogate the terrorist a bit more harshly, but you still get no results. Finally, you manage to get information from the terrorist by torturing him. In the meantime, the terrorist tells you that he has a child and that he is very sensitive to his child. Finding out that the terrorist has a child changes the dynamics of the situation. You are no longer just dealing with a terrorist. You are also dealing with a father or a mother. This further complicates the ethical and moral issues. Dealing with a terrorist who has a child creates an emotional challenge. Getting information about the terrorist's child may require a more empathetic approach. Perhaps threatening to harm the terrorist's child may seem the most effective way to persuade him or her to talk. However, this may be inhumane and contrary to the values of the police organization. In this case, torturing the terrorist's child is a difficult decision. Yes, this child is innocent, but the explosion of the bomb could kill hundreds of people. For some philosophers, it is debatable which option is the right one in this kind of situation. Utilitarian moral philosophy argues that actions that benefit the majority should be preferred. In this case, torturing the child might be more beneficial in the name of saving the lives of hundreds of people. However, it is also debatable whether utilitarian moral philosophy is an absolute guide for such situations. Some argue that ethical values cannot be reduced to the happiness of the majority and that individual rights must be protected. From this perspective, torturing a child may be an unacceptable step towards preserving innocence and maintaining human dignity. Moreover, the application of utilitarian moral philosophy can be complicated in practice. This is because determining which action benefits the majority and accurately measuring this benefit is often a subjective process. In this case, it can be difficult to assess how beneficial torturing a child actually is. For the most part, however, utilitarian moral philosophy holds that in emergencies and life or death situations, unethical actions are sometimes acceptable. However, this should generally be seen as a last resort and should be applied when other alternatives have been exhausted. As a result, in a morally complex situation such as torturing a terrorist's child, utilitarian moral philosophy is often used as a practical guide. But each situation is unique and various factors must be considered when making ethical decisions, making it difficult to determine the precise correctness of the decision. However, it is surprising that a hero like Batman adheres to utilitarian moral philosophy. Batman always refuses to kill the Joker because, according to utilitarian moral philosophy, killing someone can be an acceptable action if it is necessary to save other people's lives. Batman, however, sees himself as a symbol of justice and argues that killing is not one of the ways to achieve justice. There could be several different reasons behind Batman's refusal to kill the Joker. First, Batman has his own ethical principles and sense of justice. In his view, ending someone's life is an unnecessary act to achieve justice, and it is not the best way to resolve it. Second, Batman's killing of the Joker means that he executes him with his own hands, rather than judging him according to his own system of justice. This conflicts with Batman's belief in the rule of law and a fair trial process. Batman believes that criminals should be held accountable before justice and therefore chooses to subject the Joker to due process. Thirdly, Batman's refusal to kill the Joker may be a reflection of his refusal to resort to inhumane methods. Batman does not want to lower himself to the level of criminals and therefore, even though he does not want the death of a malicious character like the Joker, he prefers to stay within moral and ethical boundaries to fight him. As a result, Batman's refusal to kill the Joker is a reflection of his commitment not only to utilitarian moral philosophy, but also to his own ethical principles and sense of justice. This shows that he is not only a superhero, but also an ethical model and a defender of justice. However, it is not easy to apply utilitarian ethics in real life. Most people would not choose to torture a child because it is unethical and creates a moral problem. By nature, human beings tend to avoid harming others, and a morally controversial act such as torturing a child is unacceptable to most people. Furthermore, torturing a child is contrary to human rights and ethical values, and therefore utilitarian moral philosophy is very difficult to apply in practice. However, utilitarian moral philosophy's definition of happiness as simply the absence of pain and the presence of pleasure may not be fully valid in real life. In real life, people often experience a complex mix of pain and pleasure, and happiness is not limited to the absence of pain. Some philosophers, such as Dostoevsky, argue that happiness is a combination of pain and pleasure. In this view, experiences of pain can mature people and deepen the meaning of life. Therefore, utilitarian moral philosophies focus only on maximizing happiness does not take into account the complexity of real life and the depths of human experience. In real life, ethical decisions are often not limited to maximizing happiness. They also involve other factors such as justice, human rights, and moral values. As a result, utilitarian moral philosophy may not provide definitive answers and may be difficult to apply in practice. Complex ethical problems faced in real life often cannot be solved by a single moral theory and need to be addressed from a broad perspective. Therefore, it is important to consider different moral theories and values when making ethical decisions.